I haven't crocheted anything in a while, so I've been working on sewing. My mom bought me a sewing machine for my birthday in August 24, and we are in December 24, and I've been working on sewing my tail off, but I've never made a hat, which that's what we're going to make today. I only printed out the pattern, so I'll just have to put it here on the screen. We are attempting to make DieselPunk's, I think this is the newsboy hat. I'm not really sure because, like I said, I only printed out the pattern. I didn't print out any of the information for me to show you, but I'll put it on the screen. Here's the thing. DieselPunk does the leather, and I bought his pattern off Etsy thinking, okay, I just need the pattern. I just need the shapes of the pattern pieces, because I was like, well, his leather pattern is not going to help me in fabric because way different. Like, you can sew with leather, and I think he does do some sewing. I honestly don't know too much about him, if I'm being honest. I only found him because I was looking for like scally caps, Peaky Blinders, duckbill style panel hats. And those are hard patterns to find, and I'm definitely not of the skill level where I can draft my own pattern right now. So let's get a pattern. Well, I was right. I wasn't sure, but I think the pieces are even too big. I don't know. Today, I'm going to make the pattern as is from his pattern, except I'm using fabric, not leather. I don't know if it's going to turn out huge, because there's one pattern that I bought of his, the pieces look giant. But I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. But what I do know is right now, I sat down to cut out the pattern pieces. I'm not going to show too much, obviously, because, well, I'm not going to show every single thing because I don't want people to be able to copy it, or I somehow this dude gets mad at me because I'm somehow giving away his shit. I don't know, but I'm going to cut on the cut lines. So that's what we're doing now. This is cute because leather, you do hole punching. Yeah, leather, you do hole punching, and sewing, you don't. I don't even know really what those holes mean. These patterns came with a very loose video tutorial. So I think you need to know something about leatherworking before you get his patterns point blank, period. Much less trying to sew it. Let's just see what happens. I'm all about experimentation. I'm going to sit here and cut out the paper, all the pieces, get them all put together, and I'm going to start tracing out my fabric. I probably should make this on different fabric than I want to initially make it on. But I think I'm just going to say, this is the shirt, this is the shirt, this is the shirt I want to make this hat from, strategically, in a strategic way. Got it from the thrift store. It's been washed. It's ready to go. But I got a creative idea in mind if it will work out. And I've been measuring up these panels, and I think they're going to work out for what I want it to do. I'm not going to mess it up. Here's the thing. I'm not going to mess it up. It's not going to be unusable. It just might be too big. Because I downloaded the 59 centimeters. Because that's the size of my husband's head. It might be that I make this and I'm like, okay, actually I need the 56 centimeter pattern for sewing a 59 centimeter hat. Cut out these pieces, and we're going to see what happens. Pray for me. Say a prayer. I mean, it's kind of late because it's already done, but I'll take the prayers anyways because, you know, you can never have too many prayers. So let's get to work. These are not my fabric scissors, by the way. These are an old, crusty, dusty. Is it gonna focus? Yeah, you see, they got even a little bit of rust on them. I'm probably going to sand that down. I don't know. These are old, crusty, dusty Fiskars. These are not, I repeat, not my fabric scissors that I'm cutting this paper with. I don't want anybody to stroke out. So here we go. Okay, now we have all the pattern pieces taped together. I was thinking how I wanted to do this. If I wanted to cut the actual pattern pieces out, or if I wanted to just trace it. I think I'm just going to cut the pattern pieces out because this is a digital pattern and I can print it out as many times as I want to. I just don't know if I'm going to use this pattern again. If I were going to use it again, then I would take this transfer paper that I have, which it's actually lab exam paper. I ordered a box off Amazon and I have enough to last me for the rest of my life, essentially. But I would take this, trace the pattern, and put it up for later. That way I don't have to do all this again. But I don't know if I'll use this pattern again. So we're just going to do this for now. Just cut the pattern pieces out, and then I'm going to start cutting the fabric out. That's exciting. I've been lollygagging, but it's my day off of work. And this is what I'm doing today. Not much else. That's what I just decided. So here we go. Let's cut out these pieces. Still cutting. I taped them all together first because print out patterns. That's why. I'm going to have to cut a couple of these pieces to make them fit like I want to. But we're going to see. I'm just updating you on the process. Listen, I've only done a couple vlogs in my life, and they've been years ago, like 2018. So just bear with me here. I'm trying to get all these steps in here for you. But please understand, this is a video of the blind leading the blind. Also, there's like these little notches in this pattern, and I'm not sure if that's leather specific or not. But I got my little soapstone. I've never actually tried this before. Let's see how it works out. It doesn't want to write on this fabric. It does a good job on the cotton fabric, but I'm going to use this Madame Sew to like draw out how I think I want this to go. I'm using a rock as my pattern weight because I don't have any. Probably should have ironed this first. And I might still do it. I'm just like getting a rough idea here if I'm going to need to cut this piece or not. Because I don't think I'm going to be able to make it one piece like it is in his video. Because it's a side piece, and I think I'm going to have to cut it in half and sew it together, which is fine. This is just for funsies, guys. No pressure. No pressure. What are you doing with your day off? Well, I am going to try to make a hat with a skill that I barely have on a pattern that's not meant for what I'm doing. Whatever. This is just the best looking one of what I wanted. Like, that's the problem. His was the best looking one of what I wanted. There's other people out there, but it wasn't exactly, like, I want what like his style, but in cloth. And I'm having a hard time finding that pattern. The ones that I see are too newsboy. I want this one to be more duck. I want this one to be duckbill. And that's what it is. If you hear the chaos in the back, it's my dogs. Look, and the pattern's shifting. Damn it! If one thing I've learned in sewing is that if anything, your pieces need to be perfect, if nothing else is. You know what? I might actually, I've decided if this is my placement or not. That's good enough. Let me see. I gotta kind of flip it up this way. The thing with this pattern is, it's not much seam allowance in the sides. See, because on some of these pieces, like, I'm not using all the holes, so I'm like gonna sew there and then use this as the seam allowance. I don't even know what the hell these holes. I know they're like for punching or whatever, you know? Just whatever. I don't think I'm gonna be able to. That can go. Nope. Oh yeah, I got room to move over with this. All right, so we're gonna move that over. And this is gonna come up. You know what, kids? Just buy the appropriate pattern. See how it's going up like that? I'm feeling like if I just cut it right here and then trace the pattern out this way. I think the way this is gonna have to go, excuse me, because the way that I want the hat to look, I'm gonna have to cut the pattern. So you see how that part's sticking up? I'm gonna have to cut that off, cut it out of different fabric, and then sew all this together. I've only been sewing for 2 months, so we'll see how this turns out. I don't know why I'm like this. I like to pick the hardest. I love a good challenge. That's my thing. This is going to be a 1/4 inch on the side because I got to sew it back to this piece. So I'm going to do a 1/4 inch seam allowance sewing it back together, but a 1/2 inch seam allowance around the rest of it. Because I have to do a top stitch. So I think 1/2 inch, like I think that's what he's got here. I think so. Right, and then I'm using this to dash my seam allowance. I almost bought a curve yesterday too, and didn't. It's like, oh, I'm not going to be altering any patterns. Oh, and my dog has to pee. I don't think she really does. I think she just wants to go outside, to be honest. Cold out there. She's crazy. I've got my heat on 63. And it still keeps turning on. I'm coming. Y'all, I am beside myself. Okay, so remember I told you I was going to cut those 2 pieces, and then that part that poked up in the in-between, I was going to just cut it and then sew the fabric together. I present to you the side panels. Okay? Gosh, I hope this works out. I'm going to be so excited if this works out. Okay? Like, hang on. Oh, I need my viewfinder. Look at it. I didn't have a choice but to cut them off at the legs like this. I didn't want to have to do that, but it's just how it's going to have to be with this particular pattern. And that goes up and around. It's t-shirt material. You see what I mean? Like, I gave it as much as I possibly could, because if you remember in the regular shirt, like these 2 guys right here aren't that far apart, so had to do what I had to do. I'm so excited. I hope this turns out. Okay, I forgot to mention what I'm going to do now is, now that I got this sewn together, I'm going to put stabilizer on this piece because I don't want it to be all floppy, flimsy. That's not going to be cool, right? So I assume I'm going to need some stabilizer. I think I'm going to use like a medium to lightweight stabilizer here and here, and then I'm going to sew these together. So that's what I'm going to do now. Go ahead and cut out the stabilizer, get it ironed on, and then they'll have to wait 30 minutes after the stabilizer is ironed on before I can mess with them because I don't want the stabilizer to separate. So I'm not. It's the top of the hat. I'm about to stitch it. Good morning. It's really early and my hair is a hot mess, but who cares? Who cares? We're making a hat, and this hat, oh my God, I'm so excited about it. You should have seen the update, but I don't know if I'm gonna put it in here or not, so let's show you the hat. I worked on it, oh my gosh. Okay, I worked on this hat until around 4:30, 5 o'clock yesterday. And I started it probably about 6:30 yesterday. So I worked on it for a long time, and all I got done was the shell. And everything was going so fast, I was like, oh yeah, I could probably have this done today. And remember, I've only been sewing for 2 months. So I was like, I could probably have this done today. And then I started to pin the hat together, and oh my goodness. I couldn't figure out how to get it together because like in the tutorial video, it's leather. I have to remind you, the pattern that I'm using is for leather. I figured I could get it sewn together. I just needed the pattern pieces. But of course, as you saw earlier in the video, I had to alter some of the pieces. It's fine. It's fine. And then the video tutorial does not tell you how to put a liner in it. And it's different. It's a different process than when you're sewing with fabric. So, but let me show you how it looks. I'm so thrilled. I cannot tell you. This is the top. Ooh, this is just the shell, okay? So, here's the top of it. Y'all, this is the first thing I've ever designed. First hat I've ever made. First item I've ever designed in my life. This is the back. This is the other side. I cannot contain my excitement. Like, I'm so excited to work on this. So now, what we need to do is I'm gonna get the visor made, and then I'm gonna get the liner put together. Because yesterday I don't know if I showed it. I can't remember if I showed me cutting out the pieces. If you notice, like I kept the t-shirt like you have a t-shirt and you just lay it out, and the top is laid out on the bottom. So I just cut my pieces out like that. I was doing double duty, so that way I would have the pieces for my liner that I needed. So I need to sew this together, sew the liner together, sew the liner in, put the visor in, and then put the band on, and we'll be done. But I have a feeling it's going to take me all day again. Hopefully it'll only take me until midday. I'm going to try not to lollygag as much today, because yesterday I was just like, being leisure. It's my days off. Like, normal people get Saturday, Sunday off. I get Tuesday, Wednesday off. So I largely just spend it crafting. I really, really need to get back in the gym, but that's neither here nor there. All right, so that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be working on this, and I will come back to update you when there's some more progress. Okay, I am just sewing together and ironing down the seams for the liner. This is the first part. I've gotten the visor made. I don't have any plastic pieces, so I took 2 layers of the heavy pelon, however you say it. So this is my brim. I'm having a little bit of like sewing dyslexia, which honestly in my life I get turned around with direction anyway. I'm one of those people that are like left, you know. So I'm having some dyslexia on how to sew the brim down, how to do the duckbill of the hat, with no seams. And I know the answer to that is to turn it inside out and sew it, but like in my mind, I can't see how that comes together, and I don't have a pattern because I can't find one, because seemingly everybody, not everybody, but the ones that I can find snap the bill down, or it's not like a true duck bill. It's just like a golfer hat, or not a golfer hat. Is that what it's called? Like just like a regular flat cap, but not like the duck bill. And the duck bill is what I'm looking for. Anyway, so I'm ironing down these seams. It's t-shirt material, so it's not very forgiving in the terms of staying straight, but it doesn't really matter that much. I mean, it does make it look a little, because I'm not going to be stitching these seams down. But I would like for them to lie flat. That'd be nice. Iron it down once more. And then I will sew the other piece onto this piece, and we'll have our liner made. That's like quick and easy, I feel like. I don't feel like it's going to be as much pressure as it was. Oh shit, you know what I gotta do? I still gotta sew these pieces together. Like the ones that, you know, the one that was one piece, but I cut it into 3 to make it work for me in my design choice, which I'm very proud of, by the way. Anyway, I just wanted to film some B-roll, but I'm not that great at what to say on voiceovers, and I really do not like music later over top of videos, because a lot of times I'll watch videos while I'm doing something as well. So I prefer to listen to people talk. That's just a preference of mine. So in my videos, I don't want to play music while I'm doing something. I really can't stand that. So anyway, I'm going to do this, and I'll be back when there's more progress made. Okay, it is many days later, but I have finished the hat. I ran into a few snafus when doing the hat, which I should have filmed, but I didn't, because when you're in a moment of frustration, that's really the last thing that you want to do. And it was taking me forever. I had to keep picking stitches. I kept feeling like I was sewing it wrong. Turns out when I was sewing it, thought I was sewing it wrong, I was sewing it right, and had to re-sew. Anyway, it was a whole thing. But here's the finished product. I'm going to insert some pictures of it being worn as well. It's so cool. It's not perfect in its design. Well, I don't want to say in its construction. It's not perfect in its construction, but it's pretty decent. The headband is actually, the hat is a little bit too big. Inside here, this band is 59 inches, but apparently the hat is a little bigger, so I'm going to remake the hat, do a better job of vlogging it, and do the alterations that I wrote down on my pattern that I need to do. Going out today, hopefully I'll be able to find some hat brims, because I can order them online, but who knows how long they'll take to get here. You never know. It could take like a week or more to get here, so I wanted to try to see if I couldn't pick up some today. So that's the hat. Maybe I can try it on. It's a little big, so it's definitely going to be a little big for me. Oh, and that's another thing, is I accidentally made the liner too tight. That's one thing. It's like It's almost like in a bag you would want the liner to be tight, but in a hat you definitely don't want the liner to be tight. So anyway, so that's that. I just wanted to get on here and close out the vlog. It took me I would say 2.5 days to make this. So I spent like 12-hour days on my days off working on this. And then the next day, a little bit before work and then a little bit after work. So we'll say 2.5 days. But I'm excited to make it again. And hopefully it turns out better. It won't obviously look exactly like this because I just had this one t-shirt, but maybe if I find another one out in the wild today when we're doing our thrifting, you never know. Stay tuned for more. I want to do a lot more of these upcycles and yeah, other things.